Oh gosh. Well, those are very much so like they're your like micro budget. They go up on investigation discovery kind of channels. So they're like recreations where you don't even have any lines. You just pretend to like fall or you pretend like you got murdered or you pretend that you're on it's very like simple. They only pay like $100 for those roles. So it's like it's nothing to write home about. And they're almost all non-union, the kind of investigation discovery channel types of crime shows. But essentially, when I graduated high school, was convinced I was going to go be a famous working film actor by moving to Los Angeles. And to make my parents get the blessing, I agreed to go to community college. And then I got to community college, realized it felt like I was back at freshman year of theater classes in high school. And I very quickly felt like I was growing stagnant in those community college classes. So I dropped out, got a full-time working job, and then from there worked 100% of the time or was isolated in my apartment and didn't do anything related to acting while I was out there. And so after I had a situation with my car where it was a situation where I could either stay in Los Angeles without a car or move back home with a car, I kind of was forced to buy out my lease, make the big trek back to Dallas, feeling like a failure, feeling like it was impossible for me to ever actually be successful in this industry. And the crazy thing is that the week I bought out my lease is the week I stumbled into my first ever agent in Los Angeles. And I say stumble. What happened is I had put my demo reel up on all of the major platforms, Backstage, Actors Access, casting networks. And my agent just, I guess, was looking for new clients, stumbled on my demo reel, thought that even though it was very raw, there was something special in it, enough to request a meeting. So I got very lucky in that. I was in Los Angeles 2 years, had zero traction, got no success. I had submitted to a couple of agents, heard nothing. And it wasn't until I decided to leave that I actually got my agent. So then in Texas, it was still the back and forth of, oh, I failed in Los Angeles, but now I have an agent and now I'm actually getting some auditions. So for a long time, I was kind of twiddling my thumbs, kind of waiting around, assuming that, oh, one of these auditions is going to pop off and then I'm going to do that thing of being the famous successful actor, right? And my mom had a very serious conversation with me that completely changed my life, where she said, I don't actually think you love acting. I think you're going at this trying to get attention. And I was like, what are you talking about? I've been doing this for like a actually, I've been doing it a decade now. At that point, I'd been doing it like 3, 4 years. I was like, I went out to LA. What do you mean I don't actually want it? And she was like, you never do it on your own anymore. You used to make videos on your own. You used to just love doing it when no one saw it. And ever since you went to LA and then came back, you're just sitting around waiting for stuff. Like, I wasn't going out and filming anything anymore. I wasn't trying to find local opportunities. I was just doing auditions when they came in and thinking that that was enough. And obviously, I look back at those auditions now, some of the most atrocious acting of my career. I really was not even close to as good as I thought I was. But that conversation with my mom allowed me to actually see that she was right. I wasn't trying. I was sitting around. And I realized that there probably is some truth to, if I truly loved this, I'd be going out of my way more to make this happen. And so I did that. I started auditioning for local community theater plays. I joined a local acting class, which that was crazy, is that, I was trying to be an actor without taking any classes at all. And then from there, I started auditioning on Backstage for local short films in Texas. And all of a sudden, I went from waiting for auditions to now I'm actively improving. Now I'm actively going out. And then I got a camera, started making my own films, making my own scenes again. And so it was very much so a gradual build. It was just I kept auditioning, but because I was now in classes, because I was now ingrained in the Texas film community, I was actually becoming better. And the cool thing about acting, and the thing a lot of actors don't realize in the moment is that you're never auditioning for the role that you're auditioning for. That seems counterintuitive because you would think, well, obviously you are. Why would you audition and not want to book this role? But what I realized is that auditioning is just building reputation, it's just building rapport. And it took me a while to realize, even though I wasn't getting anything that I booked, the same casting directors were calling me in again and again and again because I was being bold, I was taking risks. And it wasn't until years of auditioning and failing and hearing nothing, and then auditioning and failing and hearing nothing, that all of a sudden Stranger Things came into the equation. They asked for me to read for number two, and then I just kind of exploded forward from there. So that's a very long-winded answer, but that's like generally how I went from that to booking such a big role.
No, I loved it. And I definitely want to get to number two, but I do have a question in there. So, what made from all those sketches, and I'm sure you're probably filming every weekend, every other weekend, then you moved to LA. Is that when you started getting these $100 jobs and stuff? And is that what stopped it? Is that like, because now you're like, oh, I'm kind of doing it. So is that what stopped like the creativity of like fun for it?
No, I think so. Some of the $100 gigs were before I went to Los Angeles while I was still
Okay.
in Texas. A couple of the other ones were after I came back to Texas and I got out of that hole of like sitting around waiting for auditions, and I decided to put myself out there and find my own auditions. So those roles, I think Lone Star Justice was in like 2019, I think.
Mhm.
And I remember being so obnoxious on that set, by the way, because I was playing this character whose entire thing was like sobbing uncontrollably when his mom like was killed. And what's funny is I look at that episode now, they used maybe half a second, but I actually started, for whatever reason, sobbing uncontrollably and refusing to pull myself out of it. Like, I don't know what crazy trauma I unlocked, but I bless those directors' heart. They were like trying to work with me, but I was also just I was off the rocker for the entire time they were filming that scene for like an hour straight. I remember back then I was like, I'm such a great actor. I can just be crying for an hour straight, when really it's like so obnoxious. It's a sign I wasn't a good actor because I had to stay in that for an hour to actually like get there. And I was just a nuisance to all of my, co-stars and my director. And bless this one actor who was playing a cop's heart. He would be like trying to comfort me in between takes, and like a newbie beginner actor, I was like, no, 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 I'm holding on to it. I'm gonna use it. Um, anyway, all that to say, I think Murder Made Me Famous was before I went to Los Angeles. Lone Star Justice was after I went to Los Angeles. And honestly, I think that the big shift was going from in Texas, where I was just doing it for fun. I did it all the time at my performing arts high school, and I had a massive ego because when I was in Texas before going to Los Angeles, I had a 100% booking rate. Every single thing I auditioned for in Texas, I immediately booked. And so I kind of got a little bit too big for my britches going to Los Angeles. And I kind of didn't feel like I needed to put a lot of effort in because I was like, oh, I literally book everything I auditioned for. Then, of course, you go to where it's an actually big film market with actually like competitive actors, and that obviously changes. But I think it was a combination of cockiness after the 100% success rate before moving to Los Angeles, and moving to Los Angeles with the assumption that now I'm going to be a working actor and this will be my career. So I shifted from this is what I do for fun to this is what I'm trying to do as a career. And as soon as it becomes a career, it becomes this thing that you become a little too precious about. You become, or I became almost like elitist for no reason, where I was like, I refuse to put my acting into anything that isn't like multi-million-dollar budgets, which is crazy and dumb as an actor with zero experience, zero notable credits to his resume. But then it was a matter of falling back in love with the craft of it instead of caring about like the attention side of it. And it wasn't until I started taking my power back after coming back to Texas that I actually focused on my love of the craft instead of my love of the potential attention that you could get from the craft.
For someone trying